Hey, everyone, and welcome to episode number 15 of the Chris Rose Rotation on Jomboy Media. Tyler Glasnow, the Tampa Bay Rays, my co-host today. Welcome back. And I actually thought you were going to start the show talking into your mitt. Like, we're taping this right now in between starts against the Rangers and the Yankees. And, boy, you were dealing the other night. And you were so pissed to come out of the game. And I was like, what is he saying inside of his mitt? What's he saying? Are you yelling at that point or what?
No. I looked at it funny too because I looked at the video and I looked like I'm heated, and like I am, but I felt in the moment like I was like very like, please, I'd like to throw one more inning, but I clearly wasn't, and I was just like, is this final? Like, what do you do? Why are we doing this? And he's like, you're done, man, and I was like, what? Why can't? I was like trying to like lobby to throw another inning, and he was like, I mean, you're coming out, like, don't do this on the mound right now, and I was like, all right, you're probably right. Like the decision's been made. Blah, blah, blah. And I guess I talked to him after, and it was more of just kind of like early in season, third start, like limited innings last year. Like if this was June, you'd go longer. It's April. And I was like, all right, that's fine. It was a good game. Came in, like I know our bullpen was going to come in and do the job. So I guess I kind of have to like find like very sparingly, like certain starts if I get pulled. Like I think it means more to like argue your case sparingly, because then it actually means something. Like if I'm getting mad, I'm coming out of every single start, then like it just doesn't hold any weight. So I think I need to pick and choose my like times I get like fired up to stay in the game, because it sucks when you're in the heat of the moment. Like you don't want to come out of the game, especially when it's a game where you feel like that. Like it's one of those games where like you don't get that every start when you're really locked in like that and rhythmic. And so it's just I want to like milk it for all it's worth.
Were you aware that this was a team that Joe Musgrove had just no hit?
Yeah, I was aware like coming into it. I think even before that, they got like shut out, like no hit, blah, 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 which is in turn also like, there's two ways to look at it, like dangerous in the fact of like, these are big league hitters and like they've been down for a while. Like it's just going to take one game for them to spark back up. But I definitely knew coming into it, they probably weren't in like the best of spirits, and like my timing felt really good. And I was like, all right, I think this is going to be a good game for me today.
Okay. I was watching with my son.
Yeah.
And I said, he's got no hit shit, Brady. I was like, he could throw a no hitter. Were you thinking like through 3 innings, you were like, this might be it?
Kind of, like I knew it was a possibility. Like it's too early to like think about not throwing a no hitter, but like there's always two thoughts that go through my mind when I'm doing really well in the beginning of the game. It's like, it's not something I'm like thinking about, but there's always an opportunity for like a no hitter, and I want to strike out 21 people. That's like it's so hard to do, but like that for me is like the dream, to like try and break the MLB strikeout record. So it's always like a 4th or 5th inning thing. And it just like, I don't consciously think about it, but I'm like, how many strikeouts do I have? Like, can I break the record? And I mean, nowadays, no way I'm coming out of the 6th inning every game, but it's always something I think about.
You don't have to come out of the 6th inning. You were only at 102 pitches and you were in the 8th inning. You're being economical, and you had 14 strikes.
Like, for it to like realistically, like back in the day, these dudes were like James Shields has the franchise record for strikeouts at 15 at like 135 pitches. And like I look at that, I'm like, they're never going to let me throw 135 pitches. Like, so I guess it just, I don't know. You have to find your time and try to do it in like 100 pitch clip, but like that's never the goal. I'm not out there trying to like strike out 21. I'm trying to strike out everyone I face, but like realistically, like what's going to happen?
Well, so that was your 3rd start of the season. Your 2nd one was up in Boston, and I know the result of the game didn't go away. You pitched magnificently again, and here's the end of a frame in the 6th where you got fired up.
And they get him. Fastball 98. Glasnow.
So what'd you say there?
Some bad words. I said, fuck yeah, real original. It was a fuck yeah, and I was like all worked up, and I was like, do it again, say it again, fuck yeah. Like, I don't know. It felt right in the moment.
It looked right in the moment. See, but that's what I want as a baseball fan. Don't you understand that? I want you to get fired up. You didn't show anybody up. The Red Sox can't chirp about that shit. It wasn't like you looked in their dugout and held up your middle finger and were like, hey, fuck you guys. Good luck in that next inning.
Yeah, well, I'm doing that too, because awesome. Like it wasn't like easy. Like I'm doing that because I'm in a sticky situation. Like they made me work all game long. Like I felt really good that game too. And like I had a good stat line, but like that's a tricky lineup. Like they'll do whatever they can to like take you deep into a game. A lot of good contact hitters. Like they're not out there just trying to hit homers. Like everyone out there has like a plan. So I knew after that strikeout, like chances are I'm coming out of the game. So it's just like a sigh of like I felt like I had to grind that game. So I struck him out, got out of the inning. I think it was a guy in first and second or second and third.
Mhm.
And it was just a good feeling to end the inning. And it's just like a relieving, like, fuck, I'm done. Like, yeah.
Are there differences? So you pitched there in Fenway. This weekend you are at the Boogie Down in the Bronx. Are games different when you step on the mound in Fenway and New York?
It's weird. Like I feel like you get into like the same mindset. Like I'm the same amount of nervous every start to where like I get into that, like that headspace. I'm in that mindset. I'd say I'm like probably they all feel the same. I think on the road it's a bit different than at home. At home's a little bit more comfortable, but I mean, if the team is good, there's definitely a little bit more like, I don't even know the word, but I don't know, especially places that are like iconic and like Fenway and like a Wrigley and like Yankee Stadium, just like the little kid in you comes out and like, you know, where you're pitching and like the moment becomes very real. But I'd say it still feels relatively similar. Like, especially if you've done it enough, like you're kind of used to the feeling, I guess.
But isn't it different when you're facing the Yankees based on what you guys have been through the last few years?
Uh,
Or am I making that up? You can tell
no,
me
I
if I'm
mean,
full of shit.
there's definitely like that feeling. I think that's more for, that depends on the player you talk to. Like, I think for me, like I consciously need to like, I don't really like get worked up with that. So I just kind of like, it doesn't help me pitch at all if I'm like angry at the other team. I really have to just like stay within myself. So for me, I try to like suppress any of that other external like drama, and I try to just like go at them normally. Like I'm just throwing to each hitter individually. But there's definitely like the energies in the dugouts and stuff, it's different for sure. And then I think when the crowd's into it and the game is close and like certain things happen, it gets pretty heated. But I mean, that's what baseball's all about. Like I think that's a good place to be with a rival team.
As of right now, you are scheduled to go against
Cole,
Garrett
I'm pretty
Cole.
sure. Yeah, I think so. I don't know what rotation he's on, but yeah, he pitched the same day I did. So I'm assuming we'll pitch against each other on day 2.
As of right now, that's how it is. I know it's the American League. We don't hit against each other, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. It is great for fans.
Yeah.
Is it different for you?
I truly like not like I don't care who I'm pitching against, but it doesn't do anything for me. Like I never really understood the like, oh, you're versing this person today. I'm like, I don't care. Like I have to go and pitch well. Like I don't really care what Garrett does. Like I obviously want the hitters to hit well, but like I'm not consumed in like how he's pitching. I'm just trying to take care of myself and like go do my inning by inning by inning. But I don't necessarily like, I think it just makes it easier to like not, because if you get caught up in like who you're facing and like, oh, this guy's not very good, this guy's really good, it's just it keeps you like too high and low. I just try to like keep it as consistent as I can. It's easier said than done, but like I've pitched against Garrett so many times and like I obviously have a great amount of respect for him. He's an unbelievable pitcher, but like I'm out there just trying to take care of myself when I'm pitching.
What's your relationship with him?
Obviously knew him with the Pirates. He got drafted in the same year I did. Obviously a little higher than I did. And we just became friends, like hung out in the lower levels. And then he was obviously older than me. And like, we never really played together on teams, but like in instructs and like spring and extended and stuff. Like I knew him relatively well. And then we've like stayed in touch here and there, like sparingly throughout the years. And I'm our union rep and he's like on the executive board. So like, we'll communicate that way. But most of the time we talk, it's like a group text or something involving like the union or like a bargaining thing. So
even though you guys are both from Southern California, you're from the Valencia area, he's from Orange County, you know, he went to UCLA, all that sort of stuff. And you guys really, there just was never a huge connection. Is that because of the age difference? Like
kind of, I just think we never played. Like I like Garrett, like we both, like I'd say, have respect for one another. Like I really respect him. But we're not like, we just don't text all the time. Like we still stay in touch. If it's not a guy I'm going to text once a week, like we know, like we have a good relationship with one another, but it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like we're like best friends or anything.
So when you're playing a series, you guys are scheduled to pitch on Saturday, I believe, or whatever it is, or Sunday. I forget which date it is. Will you seek him out at some point beforehand, even just to say hello, to wave? We don't know how that stuff works.
If it's like, especially with COVID and like our guy on our team is like so strict with it, like it's very weird this season. Like you're technically not supposed to go like congregate in the outfield or whatever and blah, blah, blah. But like if I see him out there, and absolutely, like, or Judge or something, like any of the dudes I've played with, like if I see them out there, I'm going to go say what's up and like talk and whatnot. But like, we're not going to like correlate a time to go see each other, but not if I see him, like we talk in outfield a good amount, like when we play each other. Like if our pitch times or like our groups happen to be on the field at the same time, like it's definitely like just friendly hello and all that.
Do you know Judge? You just mentioned him.
I played on the fall league with him, so I know him,
Oh.
relatively well. Yeah, I got to know him pretty good in the fall league, and then I played against him in the minor leagues a lot. And like yeah, he's a good dude. I really like that guy a lot.
Do you like pitching against him?
I mean, he's like a threat, like for sure. But yeah, I mean, he's a really good hitter. But you just kind of have to do your scouting report and go about it how you go about it. And if you execute, good things happen. Like he's done really well against me, and I've done well against him at times. So it's just it's just a good competition.
Is there ever, if you strike him, whenever you strike him out, or has he clicked you yet in the bigs?
I don't think so. I could be wrong. I feel like I would remember though. I don't think he has.
Yeah.
In the big. I think in the minor leagues he has. I don't know about the big leagues though. I'm not sure.
So is there ever if you're friendly with a guy like that, is there ever when you're sending him back to the dugout after a nasty 99-mile-an-hour heater, does he glance back at you for a second? And do you ever lock eyes?
No, I feel like it happened a lot. Maybe in the minor leagues or something. Like we would sometimes like I missed up and in on him a few times. Like obviously I'm not trying to do that intentionally. And I feel like he was like, and I'm like, dude, I'm not doing that on purpose. That was like 2 years ago. But not really. Like I'm not really in that mindset too. When I pitch, I'm not really trying to like buddy with anyone. Like I don't even look at the hitter. I'm very much like just centered it on the catcher. Like I don't really ever like make eye contact with the hitter. It's kind of like irrelevant sometimes.
You're killing all of our romantic side of baseball, by the way.
I know. Sorry.
And all that stuff. It's okay. It's okay. One more thing before we bring on your brother, and your brother Ted Glasnow is going to be our guest today. It's going to be a ton of fun. You guys got your American League championship rings and took a lot of shit on social media because guys were showing them off as though they were the Dodgers, having just won the World Series.
Yeah.
Is that fair criticism?
No, I think like that's what people do. They just like talk shit about like that's sports in general. That's kind of why sports is awesome. Like of course there's going to be room right there to like say some stuff, but at the end of the day, like it's like a special moment. It's one of those things you're going to look back on in like a lot of years. And like even my mindset too, I'm like, I mean, I love the fact that we got an American League championship ring. Like it's great. I know I'm going to like it. It'd be cool to show my kids. I gave it to my parents. It's a special thing, but there is a part of me that's like, I wish it was a World Series ring. Like, I don't know, you know, like especially now just being so closely removed from it. I'm just like, I don't know, but it will be special in the future. Like especially with like a lowest payroll, like what we accomplished and like everything, like all the COVID season, all that stuff. Like it's awesome. Nobody's going to deny an American League championship ring. All the people talking shit want one, no doubt.
It's interesting because I used to cover the golf beat 20 years ago when Tiger was kicking everybody's ass. Mm-hmm. And he had a saying, second sucks. He would say it every time he didn't win on tour. And so there are people that are saying, yep, go enjoy your American League championship banner. Go hang that one when it's not what you are playing for at the end of the day. Can you understand that? Or do you just say people are just saying shit just to say shit?
I can understand it for sure. But I also like you have to like when you're in it and you're doing it with all your friends and like you're the one, you realize how difficult it is for all the teams we beat in the situation, like the COVID and all the other external stuff. Like you have to sit back and appreciate like how hard, like how tough it is to even get to that spot. Like we beat everyone in the American League. Like that's special, but there is definitely a part of me that's like, even now, when I like, sometimes I'll look at it and just be like, I won a World Series ring. Like I don't, and it'll be like that for me. I think it like my entire career while I'm playing, like I want that to be a World Series ring. Like I don't want that to be an American League championship ring, but it will be special when I'm older. 100%. I know it's going to be like a cool thing to look back on.
Okay. Yeah. You ready to interview your brother? You nervous or are you excited?
I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. The one and only Theodore Glasnow joining us right after this. Hey, everybody. I want to tell you about Aced Out Caps. It is the official cap of Major League players. There's 46 different caps. You got different players on the caps. I've seen the Mike Trout, the Fernando Tatis, and I'm wearing the 98ers in honor of the Tampa Bay Rays. Of course, 1998 is the first year of their existence. So it's really cool stuff. It's officially licensed by the Major League Baseball Players Association. It's designed and embroidered right here in the good old USA. So check mark on that as well. Various styles to choose from. You got the snapbacks, the truckers, the dad caps as well. There's also men's tri-blend t-shirts of 13 baseball Hall of Famers, the likes of Frank Thomas and George Brett and Johnny Bench. And those t-shirts are super cool because it lists the accomplishments of these Hall of Fame players. So go out and get that as well. And in addition, one of these awesome aced out lids. Free shipping on any order over $35, and use the code ROSE for 20% off of your first order. So go out, tip of the cap to Aced Out.
I'm the older brother and, of course, the exceptional athlete. And every time I would beat him in something, he would go off in a corner and pout. And when you asked him, hey, man, what's wrong? He would go, I just want Taco Bell. So I think it's poetic justice that he ended up giving Taco Bell to the entire country.
That, of course, the dulcet tones of Ted Glasnow, the older brother of our co-host Tyler Glasnow. That was during the World Series in 2020 when Tyler gave up the Mookie Betts stolen base and fed everybody Taco Bell. Ted, how dare you do that to your younger bro?
I need to borrow some media training from Tyler. My voice is very high in that interview.
You're stuck with that. No training can help you. You just got a shitty voice.
So Ted is our guest today. And Ted, it was interesting. We brought that clip up the first time we had Tyler as a co-host. And I said, man, your brother's railing on you basically on national television. And he said, I wouldn't have it any other way. What is your relationship like with your younger bro?
It's probably similar to most younger brother relationships. And it's not like he gave up a stolen base. It's baseball. So that's just a stat. It's not like I made that up. It's not like I'm making fun of his hair or something.
Wait a second. How can you make fun of your hair? You guys got like a Groupon 2-for-1, didn't you?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. It doesn't hit close to his personality. It's external to him. It doesn't matter. He'll get over it. He's a pitcher, a tall one at that, with a long release time. But yeah, our relationship is that's how we normally talk. I'd imagine that's how most folks talk to their younger brother. Maybe I'm wrong, but we've always been pretty honest. And he can take it. If he made fun of me, it'd be a different story. I'd probably cry.
Is that true, Tyler?
I don't think so. We do a good amount of making fun of each other. Honestly, though, growing up, we were more, I'd say we were competitive. And then once we got to like more of a teenage age, I feel like we weren't very we were more supportive of one another. If any, I think that would be the biggest difference of we still would be competitive and all that. But I think we transitioned into being supportive sooner than most brothers.
I think it helped that none of us did, we never really did the same sport at the same time.
Yeah.
Overlapped in high jump when we were little, but Tyler played baseball, I ran track, I played football. So
yeah, it was
we were never in direct competition, which was probably good for our household.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, we mentioned this on the first episode with Tyler. You were a Division I college athlete. So fill us in, please, Ted.
Yeah, I was a decathlete at Notre Dame. And then I technically was a professional decathlete for a year and a half, but I made $500. So strictly speaking, I was professional, but yeah, that's
dude,
me.
we're filing through a bunch of photos. So everybody who is just doing this audio only, check us out on our Jomboy Media Baseball YouTube channel, because you're going to want to see the Saquon Barkley thighs on Ted Glasnow. Dude, seriously, what's going on with your physique?
I think that's just good lighting. That's indoor track lighting. That's down lighting. You get the striations.
No chance. Dude, I had so much quad FOMO growing up. I was always why can't I be that big? I don't understand what's going on. But I don't know. It's like college training. It's that Notre Dame meal plan is what that is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was part of the training, and I'm smaller than Tyler. So I think if you stretched me out, it'd probably be pretty similar. Plus, our mom is jacked. Dad's pretty strong.
Some good genes
didn't have
there.
to work too hard.
Yeah, right. You were obsessed. You worked too hard, if anything. If you could go back and do you think in college you like overworked in like a lot of the training?
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to Coach Garnham. But that's like par for the course in college. I wonder if it's true in baseball too. Like they just overwork you. And when I was on the professional team in Santa Barbara Trackland, it was just, I did like 60% of the work and I got like more results. And I'm fairly certain it's similar with Tyler. Like we both have the gene that's like, you got to work really hard. Like if you're not dead, you're not doing it right. And then you realize like, that's not really how you improve and get to the peak as an athlete.
Yeah.
God, I hope I make this.
You did. Ooh.
That's a good one. We're showing the pole vault, which is one thing.
Yes.
Like, how the heck do you decide I want to be a pole vaulter or even a decathlete as a kid? Like I get baseball, I get hockey, I get who decides they want to become a decathlete?
Like the decision was kind of made for me. Like I wasn't very good at any one sport. So I like just tried a couple of them. And then I had the frame, the build to be a decathlete. So in high school and before high school, Tyler and I both did jumps. So high jump, some long jump. And then mostly because I didn't want to sprint because that sounds terrible. Like running a 400 is awful. And then my senior year, I tried a couple. I picked up a shot put for the first time in my life, threw javelin, I threw discus a couple times, and then just got a few marks on the board officially, and then started like talking to colleges, and I was like, "Look, I've done this stuff before." And the only one to buy my lie was Notre Dame. That's not true.
Your
there was
lie.
one other one.
Yeah, there's a couple other ones.
Yeah, but
So, Tyler, what is it like watching your brother compete in a decathlon? Like, is that like over 6 or 7 days? How does this happen? I have never
2
been
days,
to one.
right? Yeah, it's 2 days. It was always really nerve-wracking for me. Like when I would go see him, I remember we never got to line up, obviously, just because like I was playing pro ball and he was in college. But like there was a couple times he went to Florida. Where was he? He had like one meet.
yeah, South Florida.
I took some teammates over there and like we went and watched him. But like we are the same, like competitively, like we're very like wear our emotions on our sleeves. Like when we do something bad, we kind of like give a reaction and like forget about it. But so when I would watch him and he would like miss a height or something, get mad, I felt like I was like, oh, I know what that feels like. And I just like wanted him to do well because I don't know. I didn't get to see him compete very often. So when I went, I just wanted him to do well. But that meet you actually did do very well. So it was a nice little first time I got to see him compete. And it was like a pretty cool meet.
I also think the contrast is pretty interesting too. Like they always talk about decathletes are, jack of all trades, master of none. And I think Tyler is probably the opposite. Like he throws a ball thousands of times in a week. And like the difference between being a millionaire and being like, owning a used car dealership is like this much. You just have to, you need like, if you're out of the strike zone, too bad. And if you're in the strike zone, good for you. So like, I think it's the other reason you were talking about, like, how come you guys, don't compete? We never really overlap. Like the psychology is different. The pressures are different. And I think they're more intense for Tyler's sport. Like if in a decathlon, if I had a bad, I don't know, through shot put bad, it's like, all right, I still got discus, or like I can go run a 400. But for Tyler, it's like, hey, if my, if this slider doesn't work, or if my curveball doesn't work, I'm kind of shot for the day. And that's a different like mental load that I don't think I would be able to handle. And that's where Tyler, that's where Tyler has helped me. And I think that like he went from being like a little brother where like, I don't care what Tyler has to say. Like, sure, I'll bring him along. Sure. Like he can come to the gym with me. But then when I went off to college, I didn't really see firsthand him like become a pro caliber pitcher because I was gone. And like Tyler will say too, that happened pretty fast. And I think the transition from him being, the younger brother that has nothing to teach me to like somebody who has like mastered something and like dealt with pressure that I probably won't ever deal with in my entire life. We like really quickly became like peers and he was a mentor for me in some respect. So I think that's the not a turning point in our relationship, but that defines how our relationship is today. Like I can go to him for some things where maybe some older brothers don't feel comfortable going to their younger brother.
Nice.
How's that make you feel, Tyler?
Pretty good.
Don't
That's
cry.
cool. I do remember like, I think it was like around low A. We were both competing at the time and I was just like a wreck, just like a mental. I just got thrown into pro ball and was like, this is different. Like, this isn't like high school anymore. And we would always like, I don't remember what it, I struggled in something. I just remember like calling him and like sitting in my bed with my air mattress being like, what the fuck, Ted? Like, this is crazy. And like, just going over, there are a lot of parallels and similarities in track and baseball. Like, it's very individualized in a sense of like pitching, you're kind of alone out there, and track and field, you're always alone. Like, that's the best thing about track. It's like, it's all in your hands. Like, how hard you work and how good you train is like all up to you. And I think that's kind of how pitching is too. So I just think like we could mesh in like on mindsets like that. I'd say it's actually like a pretty similar.
There's also less politics in track and in baseball because it's more stat driven. Like, yeah, exactly. You can be a huge jerk, but if you're faster than the other guy, like you're gonna be on the relay team. Like, yeah, that's very true. That is true. And vice versa. Like, you can be a good guy, but sorry, if your velocity is not where it should be, we're moving on. Yeah.
So, Ted, we started this segment with you ripping on your brother for giving up a stolen base in the World Series, but how nervous and or proud were you last year in Arlington?
Very nervous. I mean, I was obviously very proud. Like, just being there was cool. And we're from LA, so even after the World Series, people would always be like, "Oh man, it must be a rough year for you guys, losing the World." I was like, I don't know what kind of childhood you have when you pitched 2 games in the World Series. You had a good year. So I don't know. The outcome of the game was sort of irrelevant. I just wanted Tyler like not even do like, that's the thing. I always say do well, but when I'll watch a start and be like, "Wow, you did amazing," and then I'll talk to him afterwards like, "I don't know, my curveball wasn't there," and then vice versa. I'll be like, "Wow, that didn't look too good." He's like, "Oh no, Mike, everything was great." So it's really about like reading his body language. Like, how is he feeling? Like, I sound like mom. Like, just want him to be happy. But like that's all we care about, really. Like, coincidentally, when you win, you're typically happy. But as long as Tyler's enjoying himself, and we are happy. Yeah. But the pressure, like, it's not having the control, like you mentioned in that track meet, like just being able to, like, watching somebody react to a high stress situation and not being able to help them kind of sucks. But he's been in the big, how long have you been in the big leagues now?
I think parts of 16th, I found him like 4 or 5 years, some parts of 4 or 5. Yeah. It's like being in the car with you're in the car with like a crazy driver and you're in the passenger seat. It's always way more nerve wracking. Like, when you have no control over a situation, you need to watch it. You're like, oh my God, this is awful. Like, cause you just like sit there and squirm. And it's like our dad too. We all have the same genes, obviously. Like, we know what we're all going through. We're all like pretty nervous people. So we're like, I think about it too in the dugout. My family's there. I'm like, I wonder what they're going through right now. I'll go look up, and my dad just like can't sit still. He has to like walk around the outfield. Yeah. Like, it's so funny.
All the ushers, because it was during COVID, like,
we're just like,
all the ushers like, "You can't be here. Go back to your section." He's like, "I can't. I gotta walk around."
Ted, have you ever sat and watched one of Tyler's starts and it's not going as well as he had hoped, and the fans in the stands are getting a little liquored up and they're like, "Glasnow, you suck," and you're like, do you ever like turn around? Do you want to fire back? Do you have to bite your lip? Has that ever happened?
Yes. Yeah,
that's it.
But like, well, I don't know. Like, the Astro series last year got a little heated.
It's always the playoffs.
In the playoffs,
this year happened too.
The playoffs. Oh, that's true. The freaking Dodgers fans. I thought we were friends. No, whatever. Like, it's on us. Like, we're the family. They don't know that we're the family, right? It's not like they're like, "Oh, dude, that's Tyler Glasnow's family. This be especially mean to them." They're just we're wearing Rays uniforms in a sea of Dodgers uniforms, and when you give people enough beer, they're gonna yell at you. So it's not a big deal. But you know what's funny is, like, I feel like I get more heated now because there's less people in the stands. So, like, this like jabroni in Boston in like outfield, I can hear him on the TV. "Glasnow, you suck." I don't want to encourage these people, but if you got something funny to say, now's the time to do it, because I can hear you on TV.
All right. So you guys speak so well of one another. I've got 2 older brothers. Tyler, there had to have been some sort of fight when you were younger, fisticuffs, some sort of physical altercation. Okay.
Yeah.
Give me
one.
I mean,
like, growing up, like, we would have like definitely like playing basketball or something. If he like beat me, or if I beat him, we'd be super pissed. And then one time
story?
It was like a story at a Step Brothers. I had my friend Dayton over. He had his friend Spencer over. He had a drum set my dad got him for Christmas or something. And we had like an upstairs room, and he was very protective of his drums. And I remember going up there with my friend and like locking the door and just fucking banging on these drums. And he came up the stairs, was like hitting the door, like, get the fuck off my drums, like freaking out, straight out of Step Brothers. And I knew I already committed, and I was like, fuck it, we're going to keep playing these drums. And then we gave it like 10 minutes, some downtime to let him like fizzle out. We thought he would kind of left. And we like opened the door all slowly, and it's like a 90-degree angle down the stairs. And I walked down one corner, and my friend was in front of me, and I just saw my friend like fly across the hall. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like prepubescent and tiny, and he was like starting to lift and getting all like beefy. And I remember like trying to stand up for my friend, like, don't fucking do that. And I was like pushing him, and like I punched him a few times. So I was asking for it. And then he absolutely just fucking decked me and just like knocked me down. I remember being like, oh, probably shouldn't have punched him in the stomach. And then it was all good after that. Like our parents came home, and it was like a whole thing. And
I think I instantly cried. I was
yeah,
like,
oh my God,
felt so bad
too. I remember waking, just like getting up, being like, wow, it was nuts. And then he just felt terrible. But then it was good. I like learned, I think everyone should get punched in the face at some point. I was like a freshman or a sophomore, and I think I like learned a very valuable lesson. Like, oh, if you hit people, they might hit you back. So like either put your hands up or don't hit anybody.
Did you get in trouble, Ted?
I was thinking about that. Like our mom never really got us in trouble. Like we were pretty good about like, yeah, we screwed up. Like she's like, I guess I could ground you, but it's like, no,
especially with him.
I'm not going to hit like, Tyler again.
Dude, that's such the California parenting.
I know.
Way.
I was going to say that.
I raised both my kids out here. It's such that we're just such passive. We're like, okay, exactly. Don't do it again.
Yeah. How would you punish yourself?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Write a poem about it.
All right. Speaking of Donna, your mom has been very helpful with pictures and anecdotes. She said that apparently there was a competition on a vacation in the Caribbean between the two of you. Who wants to take this one? Tyler?
I don't know. Yeah, it was a push-up contest. We went on a cruise, and we were in we were in somewhere in the Bahamas?
Some place where they drink rum.
Yeah, so we were there. And there was like a push-up contest or whatever, and we had to have like our girlfriends at the time like lay on our back. And his girlfriend, or his wife now, is like a nationally ranked heptathlete, like very athletic. And my girlfriend at the time was like very petite. And so it was a rigged thing from the start. And I watched him do it first. And Carly was like, his wife was like very top loaded on top of him. And I was like, that's where you're wrong right there. That's where you're going to lose the competition. He ended up doing like a lot of push-ups. And then my girlfriend, I was like, go a little lower towards my feet. And I was just kind of doing some kips. So I cheated, but I technically beat him, but it was a good competition.
So do we have any other competitions that we should be doing? I mean, should we grab your wife, Ted, and maybe redo the push-up competition?
Maybe we should give it a shot.
Maybe episode 4. Who knows?
She might be upstairs. Yeah, exactly. that should be a new segment.
Yeah.
Wife push-ups.
By the way, people are probably watching this right now and on our YouTube channel, and they're looking at, and they think that Tyler is in his dorm room right now, and Ted is some multi-trillionaire hanging out on the California coast or something. What the heck do you do for a living, Ted?
I actually work for a meal kit startup called Tovala, Tyler.
Look at that.
Name drop when you get the opportunity. It's a meal kit startup based in Chicago.
So what do we do there? What
I'm the director of business development, which doesn't really mean anything at a startup.
It sounds very official though. And you just moved into a new place and everything?
Yeah, my wife and I moved like 5 minutes up the street. We live in Santa Barbara, and my wife has good taste. That's why the background looks nice.
I'm going to tell you, for having just moved a few days ago, that is the most put together pad I have ever seen in history. Like Tyler's got some sort of like ironing board behind him.
Yeah, what is that?
We're in like a little side room. Okay, I guess I could have made another room, but I have a roommate and I'm all shy, so I like hide my little nook. But it's red light therapy. I'm over here getting recovered.
What is that?
What does it do?
It's just it's a bunch of red lights, and apparently it's supposed to be like good for recovery. Brasso, my roommate, has it, and he's like, "You should try it." I'm like, "All right, I'll try it." I don't know if it does anything, but there's technically science that says it works. But I think you can manipulate kind of any numbers to say something works. But I don't know.
Chris, what do you do for recovery?
Yeah. What do I do for recovery? I try and wake up the next day. As long as I'm above ground, that means I've recovered. At my age, that's
it.
Yeah, I occasionally, if I don't want to be too cheap, turn on the heat in my jacuzzi and get in. But I'm trying to keep the gas bill down this month. You know, when you
Very
get
smart.
two kids, you guys will understand this stuff one day. You know, you're trying to pinch every penny you can. Just try
Tyler's
to make
running up his electricity bill with red lights over there.
Yeah. Well, don't have you seen how he's pitched this year? That guy can keep
Yeah,
running.
that's
He can
true.
have this thing on every day, even when he's on road trips. It'll be just fine.
There's gonna be tons of red light sales after this interview.
Yeah, for real.
So Ted, you got married a couple of years ago. Tyler, you were the best man. That means you have to plan the bachelor party. How did that go?
That was the most nervous I've ever been in my entire life. Not the planning the bachelor party was like, because I wanted it to, because he's very like structured. If he were to plan something, it would be like phenomenal. If I were to be getting married and he would plan the bachelor party, I was like, I need to do it at that certain. I don't have like the planning skills he does, but I'm gonna like, I want this to be. I don't want to miss here. So we had the bachelor party in Rosarito, Mexico. Had a bunch of friends there. Got a house. It was really fun. And then that was a great time. And then like the speech was what I was most nervous about for sure. More
Ted,
nervous
how'd
than
he
I
do?
would be pitching, I'd say. I did well,
Wow.
actually. I prepared a lot, and I usually don't. And I remember like throughout the course of a season, I would like write things down to be like, "Ooh, I remember that about it and this about it and stuff." But that was very nerve-wracking for me. But it was awesome. I think too, it's just because like if you screw up a best man speech in that setting, it's like you're gonna know those people the rest of your life. Like that's gonna follow you till you die. So it was like I said, nerve-wracking, but it was cool. And I remember the feeling when it was over was this like euphoria, just like I don't have to worry about this anymore. Straight to the bar. It was great.
Pitching in the
do,
World
Ted?
Series was fine, but the
whatever.
speech was actually was amazing. And honestly, like watching like him planning the bachelor party was also incredible because like, you know, he's definitely turned a corner. Like this more, on a related note, I know that he cares about this podcast because it's the first time in his entire life that he sent me a calendar link.
Yeah, I did. He'll
He was
send
like,
me
"Hey,
calendar
man,
links for stuff.
don't forget
he
to
sends
show up."
calendar links for anything. For a bowel movement, this guy will send us like a calendar link. So I'm like, dude, I don't need this calendar link. But I remember being like, yeah, okay. And I know he likes the calendar, so I was like,
Yeah, but he did the same thing with the bachelor party. I was like, oh wow, he got an itinerary. Like, he's a full blown adult.
Very, very good. Very good.
Yeah, he's good.
How are the brotherly trips to Mexico that the two of you have taken over the years? What can we share?
I don't know they've always been really, really fun. We'll always go with like a good group of friends, like a really fun group, too much fun sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gone with like a bunch of different people. We have a lot of family friends who have a place down there too. And it's right down the coast of like Tijuana called Rosarito. And there's like really good surfing and like not a lot of people are there. And it's just nice. Mexico's like the Wild West. There's like no rules and you can kind of do whatever you want. And it's just a lot of fun. If you go with a good group of people anywhere, you're going to have a lot of fun.
I love how like you're making it sound like you did a lot of crazy stuff. We like went to bed at 10:30. Like that's
nuts.
our version of Wild West. Like instead of 9.
Yeah.
Well, we also do like we've done 2 off-season trips too. We went to Mexico City and then Copenhagen.
This last
And
off season.
That's super fun. Like that's like talk about like the trappings of having a brother as a professional athlete. Like it's not necessarily like what you would think it is. It's just him having a ton of time like in the fall to do stuff. I love that.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. I have seen several photos of you guys, including the double sweater classic. Please tell me both of you have that thing framed somewhere in the house.
That sweater is. I don't even know whose that is. I remember we
It's
saw it when we
Zan,
got to.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was our
Zan,
neighbor. Yeah. His wife is like an influencer, and I'm pretty sure she got this for like a campaign and brought it over during the holidays, and we put it on. It didn't get like it lives on my mom's phone, but somehow it always gets onto the screen when we do stuff like this.
Yeah.
Tyler, you look like you are getting ready for a proctology appointment in this photo.
Yeah.
I have to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was like we should look like unenthused, and we did a good job. We look pretty unenthused.
Yeah, I think in the future I need to not put my arm there too, under the sweatshirt.
Yeah, like what is that? What's going on there? Well endowed.
It was my first double sweatshirt, all right?
Yeah, that's true.
There are also a gazillion photos of the two of you guys with your shirts off. Do you guys have some sort of hot bod competition working between the two of you?
No, I'd say that's not a competition that we've had, but who knows?
I'd win.
Would you still win? Because I mean, back in the day, I get it when you were doing your whole decathlon thing. Yes,
Probably. I mean, he works out like a psychopath still. He wakes up like 5 a.m. and does like kettlebell workouts on the beach. Like, I think it's more so too, like we're pretty like, if we didn't work out, I think we'd both be like psychopaths. I know mom was like, we sent this in. I was like, Jesus, Donna.
This is when I was transitioning from my like track shorts to normal human shorts. I was still in the transition phase.
Every couple
I was getting
inches would go down.
I added an inch every year.
Yeah.
And also, can Donna choose one where I'm a little bit more tan? I live at the beach now.
All right, listen, before we let you go, we got a few things here. We got a little segment we're going to call Sibling Rivalry here. So shout out your name if this pertains to you. Bigger pain in the ass to the parents.
Ooh.
No,
that brings up that
Tyler.
party story. Me? That's true. You were just more calculated. Dude. When we were in high school, we would, or like in middle school or whatever, we'd always on the weekends like go to dinner with our parents. And then Ted got into high school. I think you were like a sophomore, and we would come home and blah. They'd be like, "Hey, we're going to dinner. You guys want to come?" And then as Ted got older, he was like, "No, I'm going to stay back. Like, I'm not going to go to dinner." And I was like, "That's really weird." So I would go to this Mexican restaurant down the street with my parents, and he would always text me like an hour and a half, 2 hours in, and be like, "What time? Like, what are you doing? You guys coming home?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like at some point, he's like, "Okay, make sure before you leave, like text me." And because I want food, and I was like, "Yeah, it's a good idea. Whatever, fine." And so we'd get him food, blah, blah, blah. And like we kept having dinners and he wouldn't go. And I remember being like, all right, because I did everything he did. And I was like, I'm gonna stay home too. Like, I'm cool. I don't go to dinner with my parents anymore. And they're like, all right, whatever. And the second my parents left, Ted was like, okay, listen, every time mom and dad go to dinner, I have like fucking 70 people over to the house and we just have a huge party. And then but he had it all calculated. He would like have like a map of where you could park. Like, don't park on any of the streets my parents could potentially take home. Like, if you're going to throw your trash away, throw it in these neighbors' trash, like dictated areas, like very Google spreadsheeted. And I'm dude, my parents too, growing up, it wasn't like, dude, they were like strict. I was terrified of getting in trouble. They were like very smart people. Like you couldn't sneak anything past them. I was terrified of getting in trouble. And I remember being like, he told me this and I was shocked. I was like, you do this? Like, what if dad catches you? And he's like, well, whatever. Like, they're not gonna, and to this day, they never got caught. But that was like my transition into being like, wow, this is insane. And these weren't like little mixers. These were like full blown like ragers. And then everyone would get out of the house and leave. It was calculated. They didn't know about it until like after high school. We told them.
I'm pretty sure they know. I think they learned about it at the speech.
I think we probably talked about it prior, speech. But like, I remember saying something like that at the party. And there was some times where like, maybe there'd be like a beer cap somewhere, but my dad would be like, I don't remember drinking a Stella, but I probably did. Like,
we also never touched his booze. That's the important part.
True. Yeah, smarter.
That's what would have pissed him off.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you do touch the booze, you've got to fill it. First of all, drink the clear stuff, and you fill it with water.
Like he knows. But I did that growing up. I never actually got caught either, but I do remember like taking a little bit out and filling it up with water. But like, if anyone's gonna tell the difference,
I was gonna say like Greg doesn't know what diluted vodka tastes like.
Yeah, he'd probably be like, this is strange.
Yeah, he would smell it on the nose. It isn't the wrong essence.
All right. Which brother thought he was the bigger stud with the high school girls?
Ooh, we didn't really like date people in high school.
Yeah, I don't know.
That doesn't. I'm not asking for your date book.
What we thought. We thought about. I don't know. I'm pretty. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I probably thought I was like I had a pretty big ego in high school, so I'll take that one.
You also. Like, you. There's some good ones. I remember he'd bring around some girls in high school. I'd be like, wow, good for Ted.
They were not.
Right?
They were.
You picked me up from the skate park that one time. I don't remember who that girl was, but I was like, Theodore, good for you.
Theodore, that's great.
I think I feel like the mom's like Jedi mind tricks though. Like, we just never. I would bring I would like talk about a girl in high school. Like, I really like her. Like, I kind of I'm gonna go on a date with her. Like, I think she's gonna be my girlfriend. And my mom would just go, no, you don't have time for that. And then I just like, I guess I don't have time for that.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
Yeah, okay, whatever you say.
Which brother was funnier?
I won funniest my senior year, but Ted was pretty.
Ooh.
I really don't know. It has to be even. I would say I thought Ted was funnier than me growing up for sure. Ted was always.
It was or is.
I'm way funnier than you know. No,
That's what I mean.
I'd say
I was gonna
our
say,
sense
I
of
feel like
humor
the
is
only
still-
competition is like who was funnier.
Yeah. Who
I
is
think
funnier?
Tyler
I
was.
don't know.
You're definitely funnier for sure. I feel like you just didn't care about things.
I did. I think I just had
that's
more,
like
like-
huge advantage in the comedy department.
Yeah, like I feel like Ted was like getting like good grades and working hard. And I was like, I play baseball. I'm here
Sending
to mess
calendar
around.
invites.
Yeah.
All right. Who's street smart? Who's more street smart?
I'd
between
say
the
we're
two of you?
both pretty street smart. I don't know how would we compare that. I'll say Ted is smarter than me traditionally, just like normal Ted all the way for sure. Street smart. I don't know how we'd rank that. I'm just gonna go with me because it's the easy answer. Because you're
Yeah,
smarter
give me
than
an
me
example
normally.
of like
Yeah, street
where
smart.
you would use street smarts, and I'll tell you who would win.
Like getting home from somewhere that we
Not
I
like
don't know.
literal streets, but like common sense.
Oh, common sense for sure. Me.
Ted probably common sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Not even that one's not even
Yeah.
close, is it?
Well, and also
Yeah,
just like
probably
getting
Ted.
out of jams. Like I think we've already established that I'm pretty good at that. We could tell several other stories about how I'm also good at that. I feel like that's like
That's
a huge
true.
component of street smarts. But
Yeah.
maybe we're missing.
I can get out of a jam here or there. I think that stems from our dad. Like you can kind of
Yes, but I am not a professional athlete.
True. There are some stories in high school that you got out of some pretty sticky situations. I don't know if they're
Yes.
appropriate for this podcast.
Well, yeah, let's leave those off.
Of course.
the record.
What do you mean? You got a 30-second one you want to share?
A friend of mine, like somebody else besides me, like almost got a DUI.
Yeah. Okay.
But you
As
should
long as
have
it
that
wasn't
guy
you,
on
bro.
to tell that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Later.
Well, from what I hear, he only gets one call per day. So I don't want him to use it on this. All right. Last one. Name one thing that you are envious about when it comes to your brother. Tyler?
I'd say like his willingness to like, I don't know if it stemmed from going to school or not, but like to learn like a lot about a lot of new things. Like I really enjoy like learning new things, and like my extent of knowledge is very much like podcasts and audiobooks. But like if I have a conversation with him about something, traditionally when you have a conversation with somebody about something like that they're not well versed in, there's always some bullshit thrown around. But like if he's talking about it in a conversation, he has like a good amount of knowledge on it. Like what he's saying won't be like bullshit just to fill airspace. It'll be like thought through and like actually had done his research. Like my dad's kind of the same way, knowing a lot about a lot of different things, but he'll bullshit with the best of them. He will actually know what he's talking about while like, he's just well-versed and stuff. I just think he's motivated to learn a lot of new things, and it's just like all he does all day long. So you like read all the time and like obsessed with it, and he just knows a lot about a lot of stuff. Like if I have a question or anything, like if I'm in a debate or an argument with somebody like on my team, I'll just be like, Ted, tell me what you think about this? And he'll like, oh, well, it just has like he's well-versed with a lot of things.
And it's funny because I was going to say something similar. Like Tyler is just really good at stuff right off the bat. And I don't think it always was like that, but like since he became over the past couple of years, as he became like a really good pitcher, I think that the mentality that you need to get a teeny tiny bit better at something, like unnoticeably better at something, and like not like cull away the distractions and focus on the things that will work. Like he's really good at stuff right off the bat. Like whether it's like Settlers of Catan or like surfing, or it was just always so frustrating to me. But like that's where that's what I'd be jealous of, is that he's just he's an athlete in every sense of the word. Like he can step into a situation and be like average right off the bat. Whereas like it takes me a long time. Like I feel like that's where the work ethic came from. Like I gotta work really hard to get average. But Tyler's like, oh, I'm just good at this.
Depends what
And
it is
it's not,
too, though.
Yeah. But it's not like he's like lazy. He's just like more efficient at like, all right, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Just focus on this. And like, I think that's from like pitching. Like he knows how to identify the most important like levers and then pull those. And he just starts on third base. Oh, baseball metaphor.
You're more of like if you start something new and you're good at it, you'll like you're obsessed with it. But like
if
skating,
I'm bad at it though,
yeah, you're like,
I'm bad at
what
it.
am I gonna do? What's the point if I'm not gonna be?
I'm a quitter.
Like, growing up, skating was something we were both super into, And I was like probably way more into it than him. And I started earlier than him. And I tried and like practiced all day long for like 12 hours. And he picked up a skateboard in like 6 months, was doing shit that I had like, I remember being like, what? Like, this isn't, it was more too of like fearlessness. I don't know why you were so much better than me at skating, but I remember always remembering being like, this is bullshit. I was skating for like 3 years at that point.
You also enjoy the process more, I think. Like you will surf, like you will go surf for 5 hours, not catch a single wave and have fun. And I'll just like, if I don't catch a wave in like my first couple tries, I'm going to go inside and drink.
Well, Ted, I hope you had as much fun as we did today, because you were awesome. It was really great getting to know you. And I love the connection between you two. I mean, as a guy who's got 2 older brothers, this is awesome. It's a perfect amount of like poking the bear and brotherly love, which I think is really cool. So thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me on. I should also say too, Chris, that like I'm a big fan of your versatility, and this podcast is a great idea. Not just because you invited me on.
Well, you know what? You're not just a guest. You leave us with something in hand. So here you go. Don, tell him what he won. Ted, you're not as tall, you're not as good looking, you're not as rich, and you're not as famous as your little brother. So those times when you're feeling a little inadequate, just play this audio clip. Ted, you're a damn good guy. This audio clip, it's a present courtesy of the Chris Rose Rotation. Enjoy, Ted. And just remember, you're great.
There you go.
Thank you. That's nice. I'll use that. I'll use that several times today.
Yeah. Maybe put it on a little audio rolling track in your house when people walk in. It'll be something that'll just blow them away. Great. All right, Ted, back to setting up your house, which looks magnificent. Hopefully we will all get to share a glass of wine together in the off season in wine country over there, okay?
Awesome. Please. All right. Love you, big guy.
See you, bud.
All right, that was a lot of fun catching up with your bro, huh?
Yeah, it's very cool. Good to see him too. I haven't talked to him in a while, actually. We'll text here and there, but like, it's good to see his face.
Do people think you're twins?
I don't know. I think they know like we're related. I don't know if like we're twins, especially when we're next to each other. I'm like a lot taller than him.
That's true. How tall is he? I couldn't tell sitting down.
6'2".
Still tall.
Yeah.
He's tall. You're just a giant.
I know. I got the weird gene.
Okay. It is time right now for Mrs. Rose's homework assignment. And do you remember what oh no.
I didn't do it. I forgot. Oh, it was the workout thing. I didn't send it to you either. All right. What's the next one? I have to do 2 homework assignments. I'll double up. Give me an extension on my homework.
Okay. I'll make the plea to Mrs. Rose.
All right.
She likes you. She digs you. It's not just your hair. She really thinks you're really good, and she thinks you're funny. So I think that you kind of won over the teacher.
Okay, good.
As long as your last name isn't Rose and your first name isn't Chris, she might cut you some slack. So your homework assignment is you're going to, as we talked earlier in the show, you're going to the Bronx this weekend to pitch.
Yeah.
Do you have access to Monument Park? You know, where they have all the monuments out there of all the legendary Yankees?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe, possibly. They could have it like roped, like COVID roped off. Like we only have like certain sections they can have us going. But if I can, I'll do it. What's
why don't you just take a video out there of all the monuments? I mean, even though they're your arch rival, you still have to have some reverence for the guys that have put on that uniform.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, have you visited Monument Park before?
Is it where is it again?
It's okay. No? It's in the outfield. So we're going to take.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
I've never gone up
field trip.
Yeah, I've never gone up and like gone up close, but I've definitely like sat in the dugout and been like, that's pretty cool. Imagine being a part of that. Like,
you'll probably throw some sort of pen on Friday or get out there a little bit and just bring your camera. Just take a look and see if you can get close. And even if not, you can just kind of take. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I'm not
going to say you owe us or anything, but
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Just remember, you're not letting me down. You're letting Mrs. Rose down. So
yeah,
I've been doing that for 23 years and see how far it's got me. All right. We're going to spin the wheel of moderately interesting things. We have new categories for you. So we've got job fair, get up here, e-tail, paper trail, and double play. So I will spin.
Nervous.
Job fair. Give me the one job you would be good at in a baseball stadium that would take you out of uniform. So something that would interest you inside the stadium. Could be anything. You're just not allowed to wear a uniform. So you can't be a coach. You can't be...
Oh, okay. Not front office either? That doesn't count? That's
I didn't
boring.
say that.
No. Ooh, I would do like on-field stuff, like the guy who orchestrates the music, and I would do that. I would really like to do that.
Really? So you'd be the social instigator. Like, let's get the whole plan going. Like, here's what we're doing. Here's what we're doing. We're gonna have like the hot dog race in the third inning, and like, so you're in charge of all that stuff.
More like the in between, like in between innings, like the music you play, or like a guy swings and miss, or like the little sound bites you play, like all the little. I would do like obnoxious, annoying things. Like that would be fun, because there's nothing worse than going to a place and like the guy who's doing it sucks, because it's just like the energy is just like sucked out of the building. Like it's just when it's too quiet for too long. It's just like a really, like the crowd's not really into it, and it's just like a bat, and there's nobody playing music in between pitches and like doing stuff. It just like sucks the life out of it. And like a lot of places, certain people just like, it's almost like they forget, or they play the walkout late. It's my biggest pet peeve. I have to like remove myself from the dugout. I get like angry. I'm like, you got one job, like just pay attention and play the music. Like it's because it's so important. Like as a pitcher, and like how I view my like walk up is like essential to me. Like it's like that music feeling of like any nerves or anything you feel like when you go out there and like you hear your walkout and you start to warm up. It's like such a blissful like adrenaline feeling. And when someone like plays it later, like the speaker sucks or they do it wrong, it's just kind of like, God dang it, like I want this, I need this to be good, and sometimes it doesn't work out.
All right, you're hired. Boy, I love it.
Sweet.
You are squarely focused on that. The only prerequisite is that you start turning in your homework in order to get hired for this.
No chance I'm getting a job if I can't turn my homework in. You're right.
You told us first episode how your teachers sometimes kicked you out of class because you just couldn't pay attention and stuff. I'll just have to fire you an occasional text more so than I do.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Just don't get on Mrs. Rose's bad side.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do that.
All right, buddy. It was good catching up as always. Go have fun up in New York this weekend. We'll check in a couple weeks with you. All right.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
You got it. Thanks everybody for listening to the Chris Rose Rotation here on Jomboy Media. Big shout out to our guy Robbie Scirocco. Continues to do a great job putting the entire show together. We'll see you next time here on Jomboy Media.